Even on? Yes, sorry
Yep,
about that.
you're on, Esther.
Sorry. So before we get started, we do have our superintendent here, and I know that the meeting's gonna go long because we all have individual questions. We'll try to answer everything and make it as simple as possible. Louis, can you stop? So we can make it as simple as possible to go ahead and address all your concerns. Faith goes ahead and introduces it very technical. So we're gonna try to break it down for you to 101 so we could all be on the same page. And then you take what you can and go ahead and use it in your school once you have a conversation with your principal and you move forward. That's it. We have a superintendent here that's going to address a few things, and then we'll go ahead and get started. It won't be long, and then we'll go ahead and answer all your questions. As you could see, Louis is putting these polls so you could go ahead and vote. And this is how you would do it if you have more than 2 people, 3 people running for your elections. Are you showing the results, Louis?
I took off the results.
Okay, bingo. All right.
So someone's requesting that we put on closed captioning.
Yeah, I told you that from the beginning.
I know. Zoom does not do live or automatic closed captioning. Someone has to type everything.
Okay. Is that different than Microsoft Teams?
It is, yes.
Wow.
Okay, so we're sorry about that. We will try to, I could meet with you and go ahead and explain everything to you after the meeting, if that's okay with you.
I mean, there's no closed captioning, Esther.
I know, but I could sit and explain to her and talk.
I know,
to
so put that in the chat then.
Okay, well, let me get to the chat. Okay, sorry, Superintendent.
First of all, Esther, did you get your hair done?
No.
Oh, let's do a poll about Esther's hair.
Oh.
It looks very nice tonight. Unlike myself, sorry guys. So how many people are on? Because I want to make sure that
27.
27. Okay. So 3 things. First, I just want to remind everyone that our CEC meeting is tomorrow night at 7. We're having someone from the borough office come and talk about the mandatory testing. And we'll be able to get some questions answered that you may have around that, especially today. After the governor's announcement, you see that our area of Queens is certain areas were slated for closure, and then certain areas are slated for weekly testing. So it's important for families to come on to the CEC meeting, and so this way they can get their questions answered. And you may ask questions that we can escalate up to Central. So please come if you can attend. And Louis will put the information in the chat for people to log into the meeting. The second piece that I want to just quickly announce is that one of the things that we are asking our parent coordinators to do, aligned to one of our district goals, is engage in what we're calling parent chats. So our district goal is twofold. So what we did is we found a tremendous amount of success in, the unfortunate pandemic and kind of forcing us to engage in virtual meetings. What we have found is that we've had more engagement from our families, and we want to capture that and make sure that we continue to do that and reach more of our families. But secondly, we are also working on really building capacity of our parents and our parent leaders around true decision-making at the school. So as you know, we're in what we call a new normal of education. Look at the different models that we have. We have fully remote, we have blended learning, and we really do need parent input on what's happening, what are some of the things that we can do better, what are some of the student responses for that. So what we're asking our parent coordinators to do is to work with the community and select parent leaders that may not normally be or may not normally have a voice, right? So it's parents that don't just sit on the SLT, or parents that aren't just on the PTA boards, and bring up a topic that they feel could support moving the school forward in an area that they believe the school needs to move forward in, and then truly give parents a say that makes a difference. Like, it's not just us telling parents about something that's happening at the school, but it's a gathering of information and receiving feedback from parents that will help us to better set our goals, to make changes that we feel could happen at the school or could enhance something that's already happening, and we can just make it better. So what I would like to do, and if you are interested, please let Esther know, is I'd like to take some of our parent leaders from President's Council and model for our parent coordinators what a parent chat should look like. So if you are interested in that, we will organize a meeting prior to the parent coordinator meetings. Unfortunately, parent coordinator meetings are during the day, but if you have about a half an hour to an hour that you can spare, we would really like to work around your guys' schedules to see if you can do it. So Francis, I definitely want you to be in the parent chat.
Okay.
Because I like the way you ask questions and you kind of target it to a larger school-based audience. So if you're interested and you have the time, I'd love for you to participate in that. So
Okay, put me down. And in the morning, correct?
yes, it's in the morning, and Esther will send some dates. But if there's any other parent out there, Tiffany or Laura or anyone else that is interested in engaging in a parent chat, it's really going to be of a topic that we choose. And we're going to choose the topic at the district level. It could be something in the district that we want to sort of talk through and get feedback on and hear your opinion. And then we will make the topic and kind of just leave it open for discussion. And that's really what it's going to be, a discussion. So
I'm sorry, my email is in the chat. If you're interested, please go ahead and email me with parent chat that you're interested. I'll go ahead and send you some dates when we're going to have the meeting, see if you could join us. And then
and you know, I never realized, I do know, I mean, our parent coordinators are amazing. And so we just want them to kind of start building capacity the way we did as a President's Council, right? The way we started opening up discussions and started talking about different things in our schools. So I'm going to model something today with you guys. And I'm going to say very briefly, because I do not want to take much of your time, but I do want to talk about something that has come up across the district, and I do want to hear your feedback. But first, I want you to hear my, you know, where I am as a district and some of the guidance that I've received from our legal department around what I'm about to bring up. So I know it's not going to make a lot of you happy, but I do want to hear from you, and that's okay. So what I'm going to bring up is the idea of picture day. And I know many of you have in the past planned picture day. And I also know that you may have heard other people in other places outside of our district and New York City that have engaged in picture day. So I want to recognize that. But what I want to say to you is there have been a couple of asks of our school about outsiders coming into school to deliver services. And the response that we have received is that due to COVID and the test and trace and social distancing concerns that we do have, we are not recommending picture day in school buildings at this time, or anything that would normally be organized in the school. So I will give you an example. There are some of our schools that CVS or Walgreens or other people come in and provide flu shots. And although that is an amazing community activity that happens at our schools, this year we're not allowing it. So if there's anybody that wants to get a flu shot, is going to have to actually go to CVS and Walgreens to have that done. Because we are trying very hard to minimize the amount of traffic and people that are coming into our schools. That being said, I do know that that is going to cause some concern of you guys, and I do want to hear from you. But taking into consideration what I'm saying at that time, and especially the clusters that are in some areas of our district, and if any of you have heard the governor today, just really talking about minimizing that And at the same time, we want to keep our schools open. And the way to do that is preventing the least amount of people from coming into our schools. I can tell you we had beautiful school openings. I opened PS 24. It went really well. I visited other schools. Things are really going well for our students. And there are children that we really want to, as long as possible, and hopefully the virus does not spread, keep them in schools. And one of the ways we are doing that is preventing people from going into the buildings. So I will open up to hear your feedback, because that's part of a parent chat. It's not me just saying things. But I know that a couple of principals have brought that up to me, that PTAs have been upset that they cannot have picture day. So.
Danielle, can I ask you a question?
We spoke to Ms. Trapner already, and we have canceled our picture day. We had spoken to class act photographers, and they did go through all of the way they're doing things. And it does sound, they are taking all the precautions. And we did run it by Ms. Trapner, and she said absolutely not. And we understand and we agree that right now we shouldn't be doing them late. But he also said later on, you could also do them for springtime. So God willing, things can get better. We can always do them later on if everything goes well. So on my part, I understand why the district would not want class pictures.
They can't do them outside?
So I think, Francis, the way we're looking at it is that we are not going to facilitate any type of interaction, be it inside or outside. As you heard the governor speak today, he was talking about there has been community spread, even in activities that are outside, right? So, so I have said to principals, you cannot organize any kind of events that bring other people into the school, which includes outside, schoolyard and things like that.
So is there a possibility that may change in the spring?
Absolutely. I mean, when we, I am open to anything in terms of allowing for picture day. I know especially fifth graders, I myself have a senior in high school, so I understand. So, but for right now, school just opened last week.
Right.
I don't know if many of you have received any of school-based letters. I know some of them have gone out in terms of test and trace. So if there are students or staff members who are exhibiting symptoms, we send it. We've had some positive cases that we have sent. So I think for right now, it's not in the best interest of us to start bringing other people into our school. But it's not, the spring is fine. If everything, hopefully this will go away and be gone forever.
Mr. Mango, can
Yes.
I make a suggestion for the spring? If they want to do pictures and they're allowed to do pictures, maybe by appointment?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would be willing to.
I know, especially if there's a seniors and it's high school seniors. For example, I'll give you a perfect example what my high school did. They made appointments for the seniors to come in and take senior photos. So maybe that's something that we could revisit in the springtime when we see how everything is going with this pandemic.
You know what? I'm thinking it's something that we can actually start to plan now for spring. I wouldn't want you guys to engage in any contracts with any companies that would be of a cost to you at all. So I wouldn't want you to do that. But if you are willing to work with your PC and or principal just around organizing something like that and giving a model of what that would look like, I would have no problem presenting that. We do know that it would probably take longer, right? So where something may have taken 2 or 3 days, we might span it over the course of, a week or 2, right? So, and I would be okay with that. As I said before, I just think for right now, that school just opened, it is a little bit of an issue. So absolutely. So start putting that together with your principals. I have a principals meeting on Thursday. And I will let them know that they may be approaching you for spring planning. And that's really what it should be, spring planning. Like you said, there are schools that have done that well. And if our picture, but I could even say in my own children's school, they did pictures. But you know, there still was like touching and adjusting and that kind of stuff. So it's just something to take into consideration. Okay, Eleni, you did your hair too. Why is everyone's hair done? It looks so nice. All right, so I'm gonna leave you guys because I want you to be able to talk freely. You can talk about picture day, but really important is elections. I just want to let you know that Esther is here, Jinmei is here, myself and Louis are here. And also to let you know there is no right or wrong. This is new for us. It's okay if we make mistakes. We're not doing anything intentionally. We want to make sure that you have all the information, ask all the questions that you need, and we are here to support you. And I want to thank you for this because I do think it's really important for us to get our boards up and running. And, you know, one of the things that Esther will say is if you are unsure or nervous about any of this, do your minimum elections, right? Just get your board up and running. And then move forward. If that goes successfully, you can move forward. I know, Esther, they do ask for you to do the SLT and the PEP, and the PAC the same night. And yes, you should do that. But I know many of you have different members, you know, and you don't have to do them right away if you don't feel comfortable, but you do have to have your board, your SLT, so we can have a functioning SLT, and your PAC. And I know that you guys know that, but if you're comfortable doing all of them, can they do that, Esther?
Yep.
Okay. So good luck. And just so you know, Esther is here to be at any of your elections, should you invite her and want her there as well. Okay, guys, have a great night. Make sure you email Esther about my parent chat. Okay. All right. Take care.
Bye.
All right, you guys. So on behalf of Christine Caligu, she couldn't, I don't think she's on yet. She's going to be a little bit late. So we'll go ahead and have Laura and myself go ahead and start. So the purpose of this meeting was just questions and answers. We want to go ahead in talking to a lot of you parent leaders. We find out that a lot of you have been doing things a little, not following Chancellor's regs. So today, going forward, you heard it from here. Moving forward, this is what you have to do to go ahead and be. Remember that Chancellor's regulations is what we follow along with your bylaws. So we're gonna go over, we wanna go ahead and thank District 28 for lending us their PowerPoint. Sonia Rueda, who is the FLC over there, and the two women President's Council, they went ahead and shared their PowerPoint. We're gonna go ahead and talk over. It might be very basic, but we wanna make sure that we're on the same page. And I'll go ahead and get to the codes and everything else that you need to know about your meetings, okay? So right now we're just gonna go ahead and start. Let me see, making sure there's nobody else on the chat. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Again, I can make this available. You guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, we want to go ahead and thank District 28. This is going to be quick. We want to go ahead and thank Shirley Aubin and Jessica Sillo, and of course, Sonia Rueda, the parent coordinator from there. It's a little bit detailed, but we're going to go ahead and start. Laura, do you want to welcome everybody? I'm sorry.
Sure, that's okay. Hi, everyone. Laura Gonzalez. I am the co-treasurer for District 25 PC, and I want to welcome everybody this evening. Like Esther said, we're going to run through this. It's probably going to be a little brief because it's very wordy, but we want to get you an idea of what they actually want us to do. You're all basically going to run your elections like you've ran your elections before in the spring, but you're just going to do it now. But it's going to be on the virtual platform because of, obviously, because of the pandemic and COVID, they want the least possible people in the school buildings so the kids can remain in school. So I'm going to run through the slides and Esther's going to flip through them for me. So we do elections every year. So every year the term usually ends June 30th. But this year, since the kids weren't in school, they extended it to October 31st. So it still will end on June 30th, 2021, the term. So that's when your term will end. And the new term will start July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. Just to let you know the year, it's only a year term. So basically, whenever you're running your elections like you've done before in the past, always have your chancellor's reg with you the A660s, and always have your bylaws with you. This might be a good time once you have your board running, maybe to start reviewing your bylaws if they need to be updated or changed if you haven't done them in the past, to maybe after you have your new board set in place to start looking over your bylaws.
Okay.
So it's going to be on a virtual platform. They are recommending us to do it on Zoom on the platform. This way everyone could be able to communicate with each other.
All right.
And so basically it's gonna be running like a regular election. You have to designate what positions are open, and every position is open. Somebody can run for the same position if they only were in that position for a year. So if I was president for 1 year and I want to run again, I can run again for that same position. If somebody else wants to run for that position, then you have a ballot. And that's when people vote who they want as president. But I can run again if I only ran it for a year. If I did this position for 2 years in a row, then the person that wants to run for that position automatically can run for that position in the election. And I don't run because that person has priority over me because I already did it for 2 years. That makes sense?
But if there's nobody that's willing to run against you, you can go ahead and run again.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Okay, we're gonna go to the next page.
Yep. So, in the wake of the governor's executive orders, he's restricting public gatherings. So the governor does not want us to gather together in a room. So this is why we're doing the platform virtual, to get our boards up and running. And then this way we could do business as usual once our election is done. So they provided us with guidelines that is on the guidance virtual environment. Is that the seminar, the virtual one that they have to face?
That's the one.
Yeah. Okay, so there was one last week that was basically showing you and all the details how to do virtual election, the guidelines.
So
You missed it, I think, one this week, right?
Yeah, so let me tell you, that could be found on the DOE webpage. You go onto the Department of Education or schools.nyc.gov, and that's the webpage. And you could go under parent leaders, and you could go ahead and find all the information when it comes to FACES training and everything, and I'll go ahead and send that information to you. All right, let me go to the next page.
So basically your elections have to be conducted in a free, fair, and inclusive manner. So all participants can participate if they're a member of your student body. So any parent, guardian, legal guardian of the children can run as a position of the board because they're automatically a member of your school. And no one's not allowed unless they don't belong to your school. Unless the parent or the guardian does not belong to your school, then obviously you'll know if they're not supposed to be there to be running for a board position or any position at all. But the whole student body is open to take a position on the board.
Okay.
So like I said, the terms of office begin, they're 1-year terms. They begin July 1st, but this year they were extended because of the pandemic. So they will start October 31st is the deadline, right, Esther?
Yes.
Do the elections. So what would be the start date? November 1st, I would say, for this year.
I'm gonna we're gonna wait on direction on that, but I think it's
okay.
I think it would be as soon as possible.
Well, as soon as you have your
Right?
election, but
Expedited.
no, they're gonna give us a date. They're gonna give us a start date. I think you're right. It's gonna be November 1st, but I have not gotten clarification on that.
Okay, so the term is 1 year. All positions are 1 year. Whether it's a co-position, a single position, it's 1 year. Your bylaws states if it's a co-officer position or not. So you would have to check your bylaws for your PTA to see what is written, if it's co-treasurer, co-president or not. This way you know if it's a co-position, 2 people must run together for that position as a team. And they have to nominate themselves as the team member together in order to do a co-position. If it's a single position, like just a treasurer, then they can nominate themselves as that own position being to nominate.
Laura, I just want to be clear. This is Francis. So when you run as a co-president with someone, you can't also run by yourself as president. It's only one or the other,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Well, if your bylaws say there's you 2 have to run together as a team member.
Right, but then if you, in one election, you
Depends
can
on
only,
your bylaws. President?
Yeah,
no,
but
I'm saying like,
Francis, but it's not common for I to run by myself and then to run with you.
right, that
And that you
that
have to
wouldn't
check.
make sense,
Yeah,
right?
but you have to check your bylaws because there's people that might want to do that. But in my years working, I haven't had people run by themselves and then run with a co. They either run co or they run by themselves. But you could only have that if your bylaws, your school bylaws state that you can have co's
Right.
and single.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. I'm next, right? Right.
I think so, Esther.
All right.
Take it over.
Wait, how do I turn my camera on? Okay, here we go. We're all learning on this Zoom. I think I opened. All right, here we go. All right, so what I want to tell you about this page is that your PTA bylaws are very important, just like your A660. So why? Because your bylaws go ahead and specifically tell you what the elections are going to look like. They're going to tell you what your how to formate your nominating committee, how to solicitate members, how your voting is going to look, if you have contested or uncontested positions, verification of eligibility, ballots, succession, or expedited elections. So all that has to be detailed in your bylaws to go ahead and omit any questions that you might have. But in this virtual world, I'll go ahead and explain in a little bit further what we're gonna do different. Oops, sorry. You gotta remember that there has to be 10-day calendar notice to your community, your school community. That means that you already met with your principal, you let her know the date of your PTA. But remember that this, under the pandemic, you might wanna work in conjunction with your principal a little bit sooner because you wanna give the school ample time to go ahead and verify your parents. In a perfect world, face-to-face meeting on the day of your election, your parents will show up, you would have a table and go ahead and as the parents come in, you would check them off the ATS list, meaning that they are parents from your school. And most likely, you have the same parents coming to your meeting and you already know that they're eligible parents because they have a child at the school. So therefore, it becomes commodity because you know who's there. But in the event that I would show up to your meeting on voting because I want to run, somebody has to verify that I am a parent at your school. In a lot of other schools and districts, it is very competitive for parents to run for president, secretary, or treasurer of big name schools such as Bronx Science, Brooklyn Tech, etc. Parents are very proud that their children are going to one of these schools and they want to go ahead and run. So a lot of times those schools have 6, 7 people running for the seat. Luckily at our district, we usually have uncontested elections and we only have one parent, but we're hoping that more and more parents step up in our schools. But you go ahead and make sure that you have 10-day notice and you know your school community. If you need Spanish translation, Chinese, Urdu, whatever it is that you need, you have to go ahead and get those flyers out so that all your school community is aware that you're having an election. Now, I'll go ahead and explain in a little bit how we're doing the verification of parents. So as I was saying, in face-to-face, if Laura would come in, I would go ahead and check her off the list, go ahead and give her a post-it, different color, a color post-it, that then during the meeting, she would trade for a ballot. That way I know if Laura came in with the next door neighbor to the meeting, and remember that neighbor could come to the meeting because it's an open meeting, it's just that that neighbor cannot vote. So we want to do the same thing when it comes to the virtual world. So once you start your elections, that pink post-it, yellow post-it, green post-it will go ahead and be swapped for a ballot so that Laura could go ahead and vote. Let me go ahead and go to number 9. Second. So you have to remember that all candidates must, if you have more than one, should be given the same amount of opportunity to participate. If you're a school that has a website and you're nominating and your people get to put their spiel on there, meaning, hey, vote for me, all your candidates must be able to do the same thing, okay? So again, that has to be equal opportunity. If you have a newsletter, everybody has to be given the same opportunity to go ahead and announce themselves that they're running. If you have a meeting, you can't just say Laura's running. You have to make sure that you announce all the people that are running if you already know that beforehand, okay? Again, should an election meeting, candidates must provide with an opportunity to address the memberships prior to voting. So should you have 2 people running during this virtual time, you will go ahead and say, let's just say Laura and I are running for president. Laura would go ahead, the chair would go ahead and let Laura speak for 2 minutes. I must go ahead and be allowed the same amount of time to speak, to go ahead and introduce myself to the voting community, okay? In face-to-face, you wanna make sure that there's no flyers or anything being, promoted. Like Laura can't be giving out free pizza because she owns a pizza at the corner of the school and, bribing you to vote for her, because that's not fair. So you wanna make sure that it's all fair. So here we go. How do you determine voter eligibility? So in the school face-to-face, you know that you have your ATS roster, and when people come in, you probably are familiar with the faces and you know that that is a parent. You probably know the child. So they are ineligible, but it still takes staff or the parent coordinator to help you make sure that they're eligible. Now, in this world, the virtual world, we're gonna go ahead and how do you do voter eligibility? And the reason why FACE picked this platform is because you can go ahead and issue all the codes to the parents. But Laura did not read her emails and she just came to the meeting and there's no way, her name says Laura on there, and we have to make sure that she's a parent at the school. She just can't come and vote for Esther because she's her neighbor. So this platform gives you an opportunity to go ahead and put Laura in a room until somebody verifies that she is a parent from her school. Once Laura is verified that she's a parent, she would get a code and then go ahead and enter the room where you could go ahead and start your meeting. Now voting is gonna be done online, and like Louis showed you at the beginning, if you go ahead and have two or more people running for a position, you would go ahead and do the polls that Louis did at the beginning. You would go ahead and list the 3 names or 2 names of the people. People will then go ahead and vote. And then you would get the person that's the host will go ahead and get the outcome of that voting. And it should look something like this. Right now, we're gonna go ahead and open the position of president for PS 193. The position of president, once again, anybody on nominations must come from the floor. So you go ahead, and we know that Tiffany's running, so Tiffany will nominate herself. So we'll say, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for nominating yourself. Anybody else that would like to nominate themselves for the position of president? The president makes sure that the PTA works in conjunction with the school and to raise money and oversees everything else, blah, blah, blah. You do the little spur of what a president does. You go ahead and say, anybody else interested in running for president? Going twice? Nobody goes ahead. Esther raises her hand and says, what's the term limit? And you answer her question. Are you interested? No, I'm not. Okay. Anybody else interested in running for president? 3 times. Okay. The position of president is closed at PS 193. We have Tiffany that's running. It's uncontested. We need somebody to cast a vote for Tiffany. So then Laura would go ahead and say, I will go ahead and cast a vote for Tiffany. And it would be like this. I, Laura, cast a vote for Tiffany to be the president of PS 193 for the school year 2021. All those in favor? And you go ahead and raise your hand, if you could raise your hand on this platform, or you go ahead and do a poll where everybody goes ahead, and you have 25 people agreed. So now you congratulate Tiffany. Tiffany is now the president, PS 193. And you go like that to all your positions that you're doing. Some of you are just doing your 3 elective positions. Some of you are doing more than that, and that's totally up to you. I want to remind you that PA PTAs are autonomous, that the only thing that they have to do is be following chancellor's regulation and their school bylaws. Also, common courtesy is expected, meaning that you notify your principal because she is the leader or the principal of the school. And so you want to notify her and give her as much, or him, enough information of what you're going to go ahead and have with your PA PTA. Now, given this electoral virtual world that we're in, FACE went ahead and had a training, and it was a little bit too much and a little bit confusing and impossible to some that we're not going to be able to do, because a lot of us are not familiar with Zoom. We're not familiar with, what's the codes, where we get the codes, blah, blah, blah. The codes are something that you and your principal or your parent coordinator, whoever your designee is that you're working with, they go ahead and, so Laura, you send a flyer, you do your flyer announcing your elections for October 22nd. That is enough time to go ahead and give the school staff opportunity to verify each parent. Laura sees the flyer, clicks on the link. It's a Google form. The Google form then is filled out. That Google form goes to the parent coordinator or the designee of the school, who then will verify on ATS if Laura is a parent of the school. Now, once that they're verified, Laura will receive a code with an email that says, and this is something the PA PTA could go ahead and create along with the parent coordinator, where it says, thank you for registering for the upcoming elections at PS. I'm sorry, I'm using 193. It's just on the top of my head. 193, the elections will be held, blah, 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 on this date. Here is the link. Please make sure that you log in with the following code, and you can highlight it in red, yellow, whatever you want. That way, at the meeting, you know that all those people that have the code, now the code could be as elaborated as you want or as simple as you want. I'll give you an example of the codes that I'm working with some of the schools. It is 1157 D25 129 5543. Okay, that is a code. The PC went ahead. It's a combination of a random number. The first 4 numbers are random, the DBN of your school, then the last 4 of your child's OSAS. Okay, or you guys could decide to make it simpler and just put at the end of, the Q193, you could just put an X, a Y, whatever you guys want, as long as you know that when those parents come in, they've been verified because they have 7-digit code, 4-digit code, 5-digit code, whatever you guys decide. The people that are admitting the parents with a code are clicking them in. You're with a code, you're with a code, get in, get in, get in. That means they're already verified and they're ready to go and vote. Should Laura come into the meeting and not be verified, I told you, you put her to the side to the room, they go ahead and verify it. If you go ahead and your meetings are not, where you have over 150, then this is gonna be, a lot of people have been telling me that they have no more than 50, and that's fine. Whoever comes to your election meeting, whoever comes to your election meeting, that's who's gonna go ahead and vote. Let me go ahead and look at the next one, 13. Oops. So we know if there's more than, that's if it's indoor, we're outside now. Remember that at the end of your election, the election certification form must be filled out. There's 3 steps to this. Every person that got elected needs to fill this out. Now, how you do it, you probably have one person fill it out, then email it to the next person and email it to the next, the night of your election. Then it's sent over to your designee or parent coordinator, who then's gonna turn that election certification form to get signed from your principal. If your principal's there, she'll go ahead and sign it then. That election certification form then must be entered into the system, which is titled SPLCI, which your parent coordinator or your school designee has access to. This is called the School Parent Leader Contact Information System. That system will take you off the list because now you are in compliance and you have a PTA. If you do not feel that, if you do not enter your election certification form into the SPLCI system, you will be tagged as not being compliant if you don't have a PTA. For the most part, District 25 PCs always immediately enter that because I am usually following up and they want to make sure that all our schools are in compliance. So we have 5 days after the election to go ahead and enter all this, which should give you enough time to go ahead and fill that information. We want to remember that we're not having ballots, everything's virtually, and we want to go ahead and remind everybody that it's very important that you're all inclusive of your school community. And one of the things why FACE took a long time to go ahead and give us the guidelines is because they had to make sure that everything was right and approved by legal. Everything that FACE is giving you at the trainings, it's suggestion. You are autonomous. You could do what you want, but we ask you to follow A660 and your bylaws. And for the most part, District 25 schools have always followed the direction or the recommendation of President's Council. So we're following FACE's guideline to go ahead and use FACE because they test it. It is recommended that you do have mock trials with the people beforehand, just to make sure. Laura and I and Louis jumped on before to try. I am not that familiar with Zoom. I am most familiar with Teams, which is what we use as a platform for work. As we speak, we are now using Zoom more and more. So I am continuing to go ahead and learn as much as I possibly can. Before we continue to Francis, I wanted to go ahead and give you some information. So FACE is aware that everything was thrown at us last minute and we do have a deadline of October 31st. Now, they are escalating to see if they could extend that deadline a little further. We're waiting for guidance, but we're just gonna go ahead and go and do it as if October 31st is a deadline, which it is until further notice. So we wanna go ahead and make sure that you go ahead and have your elections before that day. Why is it important that you go ahead and have that election before that day? Because without you, President's Council cannot have an election. The way it's gonna work for President's Council is that our meeting is set for, I don't know, hold on, it's right here. Our meeting is set for October 19th. President's Council will host their meeting regularly like they all have always done. And then they're gonna go ahead and pick a date to go ahead and have their elections. There was talks about either the 28th, 29th, or 30th, because we have 36 schools in our district. 2 of those schools are pre-Ks and they don't have PTA, so that leaves us down to 34 schools. We will need to have 34 schools come to the meeting and vote. That means it would be your president. Remember that president seats serve as the SLT. They are guaranteed an SLT chair, and they also come to President's Council. Now, in the event that you have calls, one goes to SLT and one comes to President's Council. Now, say you have to work and you can't make Monday meetings because you are working, whatever it is, your school can go ahead and select a designee. That designee needs a letter from your school that everybody voted and agreed that, Francis is gonna be the designee for the school. What does that mean? Anybody from Francis School 209 could come to the meeting. but Francis is a representative of the school, and there's only one vote for school. So everybody could come to the meeting, but only one vote for school. So once you have your elections, that will prep us up to go ahead and have our elections at President's Council. I want to go ahead and plug that if you're interested in running for President's Council after you're selected at your school, you're more than welcome to run for a position at President's Council. Again, nominations will be taken from the floor on the day of that election. I want to go ahead and let you know that this PowerPoint that District 28 shared with us will be shared with all of you so you can read more in detail. There is a script. Okay, Francis, you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the script? I'm not gonna, you don't have to read it, but.
Okay, so I put the script in the chat for anybody to take it, and it's basically a doc. You can modify it to your school, however you want to do it. It's just a script that one of the President's Council is using, and they created this like elaborate script to make it easier for us to follow. And again, you can change it to whatever you want to change it to, but this will kind of make it consistent across the board if we all kind of use the same script, because we don't want to say the wrong thing. I think the biggest thing is that people need a host, and a lot of people who are running, they can't host it. So I know Laura mentioned it before, and I'll mention it too, that I'm willing to help host someone's election if you need a host.
Correct. So I was gonna, Francis, sorry, I was gonna go ahead and say that at the end. Should anybody need a host, they could go ahead and email President's Council, and then one of us or all of us will try to make it. There is Christine, Laura, and Francis, and myself from the district office to go ahead. Please make sure you give us amp time to go ahead and make it, because there might be double booking or two schools. We want to go ahead and make time. I know that is the biggest issue with a lot of people, but we'll get through and we'll find hosts and we'll help you guys the best that we possibly can. So Francis did share anything else you want to say, Francis, on the script? I'm sorry.
No, I think the script is pretty, self-explanatory. If you guys want to open it now and quickly look at it, it's just, I think the only thing that I saw might have been missing is people need to describe the roles like president and recording secretary, just for new parents can kind of understand what it entails. And so they know what they're getting into. And that's about it. I think it's pretty simple. I know everyone is scared, but where I live, we had to do our first virtual election. It wasn't a PTA, but we did it, and we did a lot. I do recommend though that you do mock elections. Don't just go in and for the first time, like take with your PTA, pretend and do a mock election and pretend someone's voting over the phone, pretend, and that way you'll be prepared. It's like a theater, right? You do rehearsals and then you do the show. So, and I think it will run smoothly that way.
So I'm clicking through what Francis shared is here. And the person that went ahead and did the script is Jazzy Rivera, I believe.
Yes,
she's sharing it all over with all the districts. I think she is from District 28 also. And they went ahead and shared it with us. And we'll go ahead and share this PowerPoint now. There are 2 pages on the PowerPoint that are not, for us, because it's their personal email. You guys have our information, and we do want to remember that you need a note taker at the meeting. You need an election chair, and we'll go ahead and we could come and help you, if you need the help. Okay. So just make sure you email us, make sure you let us know with time so we could go ahead and show up. And the thing that we're asking, if your school is done and you did it and it's perfect, turn around and help the next school, call the next person and say, hey, my elections were a total success. I could come and help you. And that's what we're looking for, because we always help each other with ideas and interesting things. So why not help each other in this virtual world that seems so scary, because it seemed a lot. It is a lot.
Esther, can like schools pair up with another school and host each other's elections?
I mean, if they like, they could go ahead and do that. That's totally up to them.
Because if we paired up with somebody, you're just volunteering for one school, they'll volunteer for your school, and then if we get 15 schools to do that, we've covered our district.
Oh, did I do that? Sorry about that. Yeah, they could definitely, we could talk about pairing up. I know that Laura is all set at her school, and Laura also sits on President's Council, so we'll go ahead and, you know, get that rolling. I know that there's some schools that are having their elections. I already have, out of the 34 schools, I told you 2 are not counted, so it's 33. We already have 1 school that has completed their elections. That is PS 79. They did their elections, they're set. Remember that after you have an election, people have 5 days to go ahead and grieve your election. So parents that might be mad because they didn't win could go ahead and grieve it by saying, you know, Tiffany didn't give me enough time to speak as, you know, the president. And then President's Council has to follow up and, you know, investigate that and come out with a conclusion. Remember that whenever a PTA is grieved, you don't have a PTA until that is resolved. And that can take anywhere from 1 month to 2 months. So you want to have that in the back of your mind, because we don't want to get grieved and have our PTA stop. So at the end of your elections, you want to go ahead and congratulate everybody that won. So right here it says, election chair, thank you all for attending today's election. Just a recap for the school year 2021 for our PTA Executive Board members are Stacy Jones, President, Jazzy Rivera, Recording Secretary, Marco B, Treasurer. Meeting is now adjourned. Once you go ahead and close your meeting is now adjourned, you go ahead and open it to SLT. And you go ahead and next we're gonna have the SLT school leadership team. And we're gonna go, we have 3 seats available. We had 4, but the president automatically takes a seat. So we have 3 seats available. These terms are for 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, depending on what your SLT, school SLT bylaws state. So if it's 1 year, then it's 1 year. If it's 2 years, it's 2 years. Okay, so you'll go ahead and open it for your SLT seats. And this is where I think, you know, you'll take nominations for the floor. And this is where I probably think you'll have 3 seats. You'll probably have 5 people running. And this is where the poll will come in, because you will have 5 names, you know, Tiffany, Eleni, Esther, Lewis, and who else? Jinmei. Those 5 people are running for the 3 seats. You go ahead and have a poll. People go ahead and click on the poll. The 3 top members, or the 3 top people that have the most votes, are the 3 people that go ahead and take the seats for SLT. Your chair will then say, you know, the SLT chairs that were voted in is Eleni, Tiffany, and Laura. Congratulations. We are now part of the SLT. You're now part of the SLT for school year 2021. Thank you. Now, if your school decides to go ahead and have a CPAC because you're a Title I and you want to go ahead and get it over with, you might as well go ahead and do it. And then have your CPAC. Remember that it's 2 people, and it cannot be somebody that's already holding a position at your PTA. So it could be somebody else, and they could go ahead and run for that if you are a Title I school and you want to go ahead and have that election. You don't want to have that election, you could have it another day, but it's recommended that you have all 3 at once. And a lot of schools go ahead and do all 3 of them in a normal, you know, face-to-face and get it over with, because they try to get most of the parents in to go ahead and vote. Also on this PowerPoint, it just says, you know, their information. They did do a mock trial where they, and I'm gonna go ahead and send this to you, and here is the information where you could see the women, the President's Council from District 28 do a mock trial. I was trying to invite them to come and do the mock trial here, but they were really busy, and I didn't think it was fair that I only gave them, you know, a day notice. So I'm pretty sure if I would have asked them, they're like wonderful ladies and they've been helping all the other districts, but I didn't want to be, you know, take advantage. They're already lending me the PowerPoint. So I was We could see this. If you guys are really unsure and you want to go over that, you could go ahead and see that. This is their page. This is their information. It does not pertain to us. I'll make sure to remove that. And this is a recommendation that President's Councils are doing. Hold your elections in October because we have to hold expedited election meeting. We suggest that you do it separate from your general meeting, right? Because at your general meeting, your principals have come on and given information about the school closing, school opening, this and that, testing and that. Parents come on because they want to hear your principal. If you just make a designated election meeting, parents that don't get involved or don't want anything to do with the PTA might not show up, but you want to go ahead and make sure that you do it separate. It's a recommendation, okay? Hold your own mock elections prior to the election meeting like we did today, Laura and I and Louis, trying to, you know, play around. We're welcome. If you guys need help, we could go ahead and invite you one afternoon and play around with the Zoom. And what else? Work closely with your parent coordinator and school designee. That is a must at all times. Remember that even though you're autonomous and you do have to follow chancellor's regulation, you still have to work in conjunction with your school. Why? Because they're the leaders of the school, they're the staff of the school, and you always want to have good rapport with the school, your PTA. I want to say that in District 25, knock on wood, all our schools get along well. So we're very grateful for that. We can, you know, continue to do that. And remember that we are here for you, President's Council, Francis, Laura, and Christine, and myself, and we'll address any questions or any things that might come up. Little things I'm going to share with you really quick that have come up. DOE email address. A form was sent out to go ahead and request it. That form was sent to DIIT to go ahead and restart or reactivate your DOE address. Your DOE address is D25Q163@schools.nyc on the schools.nyc.gov. Once you go ahead and get reactivated, an email will go out to you and to me. Well, then I will inform your parent coordinator and your principal that your email has been activated. It will come with a temporary password. That temporary password then is to be changed by the person who requested the email. Then that email is to be shared within your PTA, the board, okay? The purpose of the email is so that you could have access to the Zoom, the DOE licensed Zoom that allows you to be on there more than the 40 minutes than I think the freebie does. So if you think that, again, you don't want to go ahead and follow this, you think you go ahead and want to do, that's fine. But remember, if you're using somebody, if I'm a parent of your school and I say, oh, you know, my job has Zoom, we could go ahead and use my email account. Before you do that, you must bring it up to vote to your PTA body to agree that Esther Maluto's email account, Zoom account will be used for your elections. Why? So in your general meeting, that could be one approval of Zoom, Zoom platform. You will go ahead and say something like this. Esther Maluto has offered to share her personal Zoom account with us. We need to vote and get it approved by all the PTA to go ahead and have it in our notes. You go ahead and have a vote. All those in favor, go ahead and say, yeah, this is your regular general meeting. And then once you go ahead and say they approve it, that means you could go ahead and use Esther Maluto's personal Zoom account. Why are we doing this? Because you don't want that parent that does not agree and say, oh, you're supposed to be using the DOE address. Why didn't you use the DOE address? Your election is not, I'm going to grieve it. So you don't want to give any parents, I don't think it's going to happen at our district, but you never know. I want, knock on wood, I want to go ahead and make sure that we all know why. Okay, now, if you're a DOE employee and you're a parent of another school, say I work for PS21, but I'm a parent, my kids go to, I don't know, Bell Academy. I cannot use my DOE work email to go ahead and help you with the election, your PAPTA, because my DOE email address is for work, and it's conflict of interest to use my personal work email with a PAPTA. Remember, PAPTAs are autonomous. I think that's it for me. I'm gonna stop sharing this to go back to normal, some kind of that I could see some of you. Okay. I do want to go ahead and give you some information before I get all the questions.
Can you just repeat that email address if we need to create a DOE email address?
No. So what you do, there's a form you fill out. You fill out that form, that's going to come to me. Once you fill out that form, I will request it. I was just sharing what it would look like.
Where do I get the form from?
Your PC should share it with you. Okay.
I'll put the link in. I'll put the link to the form in the chat.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
So all you have to do is fill it out. I'll go ahead and send that to DIIT. Well, but your email will look like this: D25Q193@schools.nyc.gov. Okay. Oh no, excuse me. Wrong. It's D25Q193PTA@schools.nyc.gov. I'm sorry, I forgot the. In the 34 schools that we have, all our PAPTAs are, they're PTAs. We only have one school that's a PA. Okay.
So Esther, so it's one DOE address for the whole PTA or everybody?
No, it's one DOE address per the school.
Okay.
So that person that gets it has to be responsible to share with the board. It's not their email address. And a lot of people have asked me, can I continue to use my Google? Yes, you could continue to use your Google. The reason why they went ahead and give you email address was to go ahead and have access to the Zoom, the DOE licensed Zoom. So you could, if your meeting is taking longer than, expected, you could go ahead and be there.
Okay.
But if you have your own Zoom and you want to use it, just make sure that you have, that it's approved by your board. Because remember, not your board, your whole PAPTA. Your board, just because you have a president, co-president, secretary, hospitality, you do not decide for the whole student body. And even though you might just have 12 people come, you still have to put the notice out. So you have to be all inclusive. Okay. I want to go ahead and make some announcements, and then I'll start answering questions. FACE will continue to have trainings. As they know, many of us need Zoom training. I did send out the emails today to your parent coordinators and to the contact list that Athena had. The first flyer was for the Zoom meeting platform training. That Zoom meeting, they're going to teach us all these tricks and things on Zoom, which I think even if you don't need it and you know it, go ahead and jump on. You might learn a few things. The first one will be Thursday, October 8th at 10:30 a.m. The second one, still Zoom training, will be Thursday, October 13th at 5 p.m. Okay, I'm pretty sure those were going to be recorded and are going to be on the PAPTA folder under resources once it's recorded. Now, Queens North and Queens South, which entail District 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30, all those districts, Queens North and South, will join together to go ahead and bring a training virtual elections on Thursday, October 8th from 4 to 5:30 in English. Then again, the same people, Queens North and South, will go ahead and have a training in Spanish Wednesday, October 14th from 4 to 5:30. I invite all of you to come to the Spanish one. Well, I will be presenting. Come and support me. Now FACE, this is FACE, citywide FACE will be giving another training on virtual elections on Friday, October 9th at 5 p.m. Those flyers have been all sent to your your parent coordinator and asked to share with you. I also sent it to Athena's contact list. As you know, Athena graduated out. We're waiting for our DOE address to go ahead and start sending notifications to you from there. But this time I just forwarded from my stuff, approval from Christine Laura to go ahead and send it that way. That's it. I guess we'll go for questions. Take it easy. I'm learning too.
Sure. It's Laura.
So
There's a question in the chat
from Clarissa.
No, Danya. Not the Carissa one, the Danya one first.
Okay, I don't see it.
About
I'll
emailing
read it to
Esther
you.
for help? Oh, Danya. Can parents nominate
No,
themselves?
she,
About nominations.
oh, for parent can nominate through email themselves.
Yeah,
Right,
so
for
Esther will
nominations.
talk
And I
about,
think me and Esther had discussed it.
Okay, I can't hear both of you talking. Can somebody nominate themselves? Yes, when you come to the meeting, if you're gonna run, you go ahead and nominate yourself from the floor. All nominations in this virtual world will be taken from the floor. Usually on face-to-face, you could go ahead and send an email, send little fill out if you're interested and you would fill it out. But in this virtual world, all nominations come from the floor.
that means you unmute yourself and you say, I want to run for PTA president.
Yes.
Okay, you don't have to like, you could be sitting in a chair. You don't have to be on the floor.
So to answer her question, the parent's question, no, she cannot email to nominate herself. It has to be on a Zoom meeting or a Google Meet.
So let me tell you, a school went ahead and announced that they're having their elections and what positions. If you're interested, email us, but make sure you attend the meeting and nominate yourself from the floor. And that could be done too if that's the way your PTA chooses to do it. That way, when you come in, you know that Esther and Louis are running, but you go ahead and each person has to, we're gonna go ahead and open the nominations for president. Anybody interested, please, that's when I would like to nominate myself, Esther Maluto, blah, blah, then Louis, going twice. Anybody else say, we'll go ahead and say Brooke wants to nominate. Now there's 3 of us. Going 3 times. Anybody else? Okay, 3 times. The position for president is closed. Now, before you, we have to vote. So Louis gets 2 minutes to speak. Maybe you want to give them 3 minutes. So Louis speaks for 3 minutes. I speak for 3 minutes. Please vote for me. I own the pizzeria across the street. If you vote for me, I will give you a free slice of pizza to you and your kids. I'm joking. That cannot be done. But I'll go ahead and introduce myself. And then Brooke goes ahead and introduces herself. And then you go ahead and have the poll. And then you vote for the people. You know, everybody votes for the person that they want to go ahead and vote. And then the chairperson will say, you know, Brooke, congratulations, you are president of PS blah, blah, blah.
Esther, I have a question.
I have a question. Sorry. Go ahead.
When people come in, do they have to show their face?
Well, since you're going to be in a code, no, you don't have to show your face.
Then can I ask a question? Then how are the school that has already had their election, how did they verify that the person who came in just because they have a code, it's taken for granted that that's the parent who is actually logging in?
Well, this is what FACE recommended. So of course we're not going to be able to know. We hope that, you know, we use the honor system. And that
So you're saying that they gave their code to someone else to vote?
Right. Like let's say on phone, I have a code 12345. I did my registration. I did everything.
Right.
And then on that day, my computer broke or I couldn't log in. So I'm logging from phone. And even if my computer log in from little bit of Zoom that I'm learning, I have to log in or I have to change. Not all people are computer savvy, so they're not going to change or rename their name to a code. But even if I have all the right information, the parent coordinator or the DOE employee at the meeting before the election, aren't they verifying, oh, okay, you have code 12345. Who are you? Please tell me your first name and last name.
That's why we're giving out codes.
But then that code is given before the meeting happens,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Why not?
So we're doing all the verifications before the meeting starts. So we're saying, okay, Laura is a parent. This is their child. I generate the random code. I give it to Laura. That way, when the election meeting starts, there's no bottleneck of verifying stuff. We're doing it all beforehand.
So
So now, if you get a code and you give it to someone random to vote for you, I mean, yes, that's not right, but it's still one vote. Only
right.
one vote.
Okay, so basically this is not like in-person voting, because in-person voting is on the day you do a sign-up sheet and parents put their first name, last name, kid's name, and kid's classroom.
Correct. So it's the same exact process, but we're doing it ahead of time to streamline the actual day of the election.
So basically, like Esther said, it based on an honor system. You are just taking it for granted that the code is of the parent who is coming in, but there is no guarantee on that.
Well, remember, that code can only be used once.
Right, but somebody else can be using that code too.
Well, unless, you know,
To
you
vote
want to
for
go
that
ahead.
parent. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the purpose of the code. So it is not, so the validity of the identity of a parent is determined before the election actually starts. So
Correct.
what happens to a parent who comes that day who doesn't have a code because he or she forgot to email, didn't want to, for whatever technology reason?
Well, like I said earlier, that person is put in a room. Zoom lets you put them in a room, and you go ahead and have your school person go ahead and talk to them and get that information, give them a code, and then they go back to the general meeting.
So, and you can see why that would take so much time.
Yeah. So I want to go ahead and, you know, you could go ahead and change your name before you come into the meeting. I just found out, you know, how to do it when we jumped into the meeting. I was going to have all of you guys go ahead and sign in, but yeah, I didn't get to do that. So we could go ahead and have a mock with all of you guys if you and President's Council agrees to go ahead and play around with it. But I am, they're telling me that the Zoom training for parents is going to address all this stuff. I'm going to make sure to attend. If you guys could please attend, please do so. I'm pretty sure you're going to come away with a lot of stuff when it comes to that. Somebody else had their hand up. Are you done, Raj?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question, I'm sure other people have, like, when President Council has their meeting, it's awesome that you guys have a sign-up sheet because everybody signs up at the time and everybody knows who that is. Wouldn't that is also a recommendation of people who are coming in for voting? That's another way to identify them, right? If you can just put the sign-up sheet would have first name, last name, kids information, like kids first and last.
Yeah, but I could fill that out and not have a kid in the school. You don't know. I could type whatever I want.
So Francis is part of the chancellor's meeting. They're the ones that went ahead and set this up with FACE to go ahead. They were talking in how to go ahead and verify parents. And again, these verifications, when FACE puts out a guideline or something, it's for all schools, not just District 25, okay? It's for all schools across. So that means that you have schools that, you know, really fight for the positions of the president, vice president, whatever it is, you know, where there's a lot of rivalry around parents, and you have to be extra careful to dot all your I's and cross all your T's. Luckily for our schools, District 20 President's Council has done a really good job in all the years that I've been here to work in conjunction with every school, and we all follow the same page. We work, you know, like District 28 is helping us out this year with you know, the PowerPoint. Sonia and I are presenting at the Spanish. Sonia is a guru. She's been doing it for years. This is the person that I run to when I need help. She's always available for me to give me the answers, not just for President's Council, but to go when it comes to parent coordinators asking me the questions. But again, you have people that work President's Council that have been around for a very long time, and I am so grateful, and I know. But again, everything that FACE introduced to you guys, they tested it, they went ahead. The only thing that I see wrong that FACE did was that they did it too military, like too scary, like everybody was freaked out after that meeting. And again, you know what? If you know that your PTA meetings, you only have 25 people, then you know what? Your codes could be as simple as, you know, Q123, school Q123, X, the last four of the OSAs, the classroom, whatever it is that you guys decide. I want to go ahead and bring something up. Remember that it's not one vote for family. Mom votes and dad vote. Now, if a parent was married and now mom and dad are divorced, right? But mom and dad they're remarried, then those 4 people could come and vote at your meeting, okay? It's not just one vote for the child. That child gets 4 votes because he has the set of parents. Now, when it comes to foster parents, what is the other thing? Foster parents, court order, where they're like temporary housing and all that. Your principal will be the one to go ahead and know that because they have the paperwork to identify if that is. So that's why it's important that your school verifies the parents, because you know you might not know that this kid's adopted and this is the mom. So the school knows that information and they're the ones that are going to give you the verification code. I'm sorry, somebody, Francis, were you going to say something?
Okay, so I'm just trying to, so basically now it's a lot of work on the parent coordinator to verify this, because that wasn't before in our elections. Before,
well, the way it was before, and I told you I'm finding out a lot of PAPTAs have not done this because they're used to seeing Francis, Brooke, Rashmead, Lewis, everybody in this meeting, Lara, you know, everybody that you see, you're like, oh, they're parents because you have been working with them. They're the ones that keep coming. So, but the way you're supposed to do it is to make sure you have a table and a representative from the school, parent coordinator or a designee, have the ATS list with them. And as you come in, and it doesn't matter that I know you, you come in and you say, okay, Luis Lotito, yep, he's on the list. Here is a Post-it. You give it to him. He goes ahead and goes in. And that's how you're supposed to do it. I know that a lot of you have not been doing it. Yep. That's why I said moving forward. And when we go back to face, which I hope is soon, that's the way we're supposed to do it. Why? Because we want to verify.
Okay, so
very similar to how we're going to do it virtually.
You know, right.
This is the big question. So when people have their code, right?
Mm-hmm.
They sign in, and you hope they rename themselves with their code. Is that what we're expecting?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
so are they just putting their code, or they're putting their name and their code?
No, just their code.
Just the code.
Okay, just the code. So at that point, when do we get verification, or do we ask the parent coordinator? Okay, because let's say, is the principal going to be in this election?
So everybody has to fill out that Google form.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. What if the principals on this election and the assistant principals, they can't vote? So do we put them in a staff waiting room?
No, so when you're...
I mean, they could watch the election, right?
Yeah, whoever you care. So,
once you do the poll, Louis, everyone who's there gets it.
Okay.
And can vote. That's why you have to take them out.
But the principal...
I understand, Francis.
The principal and all the guests do not vote, and they know that, you know?
But it pops up on their screen, so they'll just click. You know what I mean? So that's something that we have to break out a room for the staff, right? And then
you could do that, but again, FACE did not recommend that. FACE just went ahead to poll the people, and this is the platform that they use, and that's why they're going to train us on that training to go ahead and use the poll. You're absolutely right, because some parent coordinators are going to be going to other parent coordinators to learn and to go ahead. And yes, it is a lot of work for the parent coordinators. But if you're working with them and you take them into consideration and you go ahead and I know that some of you, there were 6 of you that I spoke to Friday night. I think one of you, we ended up hanging up at 11:30 at night on Friday. You know, you're already on top of it. You're already working with the PC. You already know how to go ahead and give the codes. You're asking them, and you go ahead and work together with them. You can't verify, there's no way, but like this PAPTA went ahead and did the flyer, went ahead and helped, you know, the PC went ahead and did the Google form, they inserted it into the flyer. Then the PAPTA went ahead and did like, thank you for registering for PS whatever. Here is your, here is the information for the election meeting. Here's the link. please make sure to log in with this code and highlight it in red. And that's what the parent got as soon as they registered. So they're doing step by step. And, you know, it's not going to be perfect because this is the first time we're doing it. A lot of times when we're face to face, there's things that we don't do properly or that we don't, you know, but it's okay. We're not, you know, the important thing is that somebody doesn't grieve your election.
And it's very easy to rename it yourself. Even if they join the meeting with their name, you know, oh, do you have a code? Yes. Okay, rename yourself with the code. And I know Esther told you that FACE recommended this like long code with the DBN in it.
Right.
I mean, I think the shorter the better, you know.
Yeah,
A random number.
So my parent community, when I reached out to them, most of them, they don't even, like, including myself, it's hard for us to even understand and go to the Teach Hub and get the OSS number. So they all got total uncomfortable. There's like, I don't understand. It took us a long time to log in. So it became like a back and forth with my subcommittee. And that's when I said, like, okay, so it's all about what we come up that makes it easier for our parent coordinator, for it makes it easier for our parents to validate themselves, right? I mean, that's just a recommendation to have this long 8-digit DPN number.
It doesn't matter how many numbers, as long as they have a digit and they're verified.
I like a 4-digit random number.
I could go to your meeting, so let me tell you what's going on, just so you know. Okay. As you're coming up with your flyers, and you know, some of you have already passed them out, right away they're coming to us. This is wrong. You know that this is wrong. Then we go ahead and reach out to the school and make the recommendation. Hey, your flyer is wrong. Please correct it and resend it out again, because that person, as you know, you might think that they're running and they're all, you know, they're really, you know, gonna go ahead and grieve it. So you gotta make sure that everything, you know, you try to follow as the recommendation, the chancellor's regs, and your bylaws. And I tell you, it's not going to be perfect because this is our first time that all of us are doing it. So, you know, I understand, and this was brought up to FACE, that a lot of the parents are not tech savvy. They're not Lewis.
They're not. No, they're
you know?
not. Yeah.
But we have to, I mean, and it doesn't, I don't want to disrespect, because I get all my help from Lewis, and I've learned so much from Lewis. And, you know, the things that he sends Jen May and I to go ahead and learn to work with our parent coordinators. I tell you, I'm better at Teams than I am at Zoom, but I'm definitely going to jump on that meeting to get trained and to learn as much as I possibly can so that I could go ahead and help the parent body. But, you know, we have to jump to speed with what the world threw at us. You know, nobody wants to be in this pandemic, and unfortunately, this is a new reality. I really thought, and I hoped and pray that, you know, March, April, and May, when we had a President's Council, that by July we were going to have a cure, and that now that we would all be face to face and we wouldn't have to do this. But unfortunately, the universe, Mother Earth, whatever you want to, God, whatever it is, has other plans for us. And this is what it's looking like. And it's, you know, something that a lot of us still have a lot to learn, because like you said, we're not tech savvy. We're not, I mean, I barely found out how to share my screen from my phone onto the thing, you know? So
Esther, can I say, in the CPAC meetings, a lot of this was brought up, like with the codes, Rashmi, that, you know, FACE had wanted these specific codes, and CPAC, a lot of the parents said, you know, that they didn't want these codes because it was too complicated. And so they just said, as long as you'd come up with some random number, some way to identify. I think it was really to keep anonymous. I think that was the biggest question for virtual elections is, I want to be anonymous, and how do we keep that? I think that's why they came up with the codes, because people who call by phone, they have no way of voting by poll. They have to vote with the code. You know what I mean? So they'll have to put the person they're voting for in the chat. Yeah. And so that's why with the code, it kind of protects them, you know, anonymously.
The reason why this was brought up, because, sorry, in face-to-face meetings, you are given a ballot. And the ballot, you go ahead and write whoever you want. I don't want Rashmeet or Lewis to know who I voted for between both of them. So I write it on my little thing, who I voted for. fold it in and give it to the people that go ahead and count the ballots. Unfortunately, in this platform world, it's not going to be like that.
But wait, in Zoom it's anonymous. If I vote for, if there are 4 people, nobody knows who votes for anybody, because voting poll is anonymous. So
Correct.
it doesn't.
We're
So
talking about like when people call in if they're calling in, dialing a phone number,
No,
then they won't see the poll.
right, not with those people, and those
Right.
people are dialing in from a phone number, so their name doesn't even.
The code is really used so that we can verify that one parent is voting once.
Right, that's all it is. But
That's what,
okay.
yeah, the random number.
Yeah.
And then we have a list of all the numbers we gave out, and we can say, okay, is like, so I can
Right.
type, I can join your meeting and rename myself anything I want. The
Right.
chances of me guessing one of the random numbers is slim. That's why it's random. You
Okay.
know? So yeah, but you're right. You're right. It is to remain anonymous, and it's also to kind of keep the integrity of the election.
And it is, you're right. It's not fair to a person calling in because they don't have the same capabilities as you online, where you could log in with, it's something that you want to go ahead and mention that,
Well, and every kid has a remote learning device.
Right. They all. So
should.
one last question, because I know. So when we sent out this email out and parents are filling in registration, and it goes to a moderator, most of the time it's the school, like parent coordinator, and they have, let's say, 15 people or 20 people out of the whole email blast has replied with the registration. So how will the parent coordinator contact them? She or he will be actually picking up the phone and saying, okay, you registered?
The parent coordinator goes ahead and has a Google form with asking the parent for their email. The parent gives them the email, and they go ahead, and that's how the parent coordinator is going to send the code and everything to them.
Yeah,
Okay,
everything the school employee needs is going to be on the form. So they're going to ask for the parent's name, what's your child's name, what grade they in, what class they in, they can ask for ID number, like whatever they decide.
Okay, so there's no physical work picking up the phone and calling these 20 parents and asking them, okay, this is your personal code. Everything is digital, everything.
I do have some of my parent coordinators calling their parents just to make sure that they log in, because a lot of people don't read. I do have, but it's a lot of work for them. But it just, it's as long as they give the parent the code, but I do have some PCs that have called and emailed.
Esther, I have 2 questions.
No, I already answered you on Friday.
I speak to you on Friday.
At 11 o'clock.
No, that wasn't you. Sorry.
Me? Yep. No. I spoke to you on Friday?
No.
Wrong school.
Confusing you.
Oh, okay. So Tiffany and I are doing a flyer for the election, for it to be put on our school story. My first question is, well, first what we're writing is, we wrote the position, then we said, please contact the PTA presidents, Tiffany and Eleni, if you are interested in joining. If you can email us at the school email address to let us know if you're running. Are we allowed
You should have, hi.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry guys, I'm here.
No, I'm saying so that we have a heads up to know if people are running. Okay.
No, it has to go through your
No, so let me go ahead and answer that.
Sorry.
I thought they can do that, but they also have to nominate themselves at the meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
But that email, that flyer that you're putting should have a link that they fill out a form that they're attending your meeting.
Yes.
And if they want to go ahead and tell you that they're running, that's fine, but they have to nominate themselves from the floor.
Yes.
So Eleni, maybe your flyer has to have a disclaimer that says, even if you email us that you're running, you still must attend the meeting and nominate.
Well, we wrote 2 things. We said, if you're planning, we wrote, if you would like to join our team, please email us so we know just how many people are going to run. Then we also wrote, if you are planning on attending this Zoom meeting and are running for position, please send an email to the class parent coordinator with your full name, your child's full name and class. Each participant is required to have his or her own individual access code in order to enter the meeting. You will not be able to enter the meeting without a code.
Mhm.
After you have emailed the parent coordinator, she will then email you back with an access code. The access code should not be shared with anyone. All participants will receive their own access code. Does that sound?
Well, it's not true that you're not going to let people in, because if I didn't follow your instructions and I want to come in, you're excluding me already by saying you're not letting me in.
Well,
so you got to change that and make sure
Okay.
that you have to get a code beforehand. Stress that, but you're never like saying you cannot partake or you can't come in, because then somebody's going to say, oh, 193 didn't let me vote. I forgot to
Right.
register. I'm busy.
You also have to make sure that you're clear that they have to be at the meeting if they're
Yes.
running for a position. Because you just said if you're going to attend, or I think you just need
And
to be
running for a
clearer.
position.
I think it needs to be clearer. If you're running for a position, you must attend the meeting.
Got it.
Yeah, but I don't think you have to be at the meeting to
No,
run. You
they
just have to
said,
get the vote.
according to FACE, on the last meeting, they said if a person is unable to attend the meeting and still would like to run for a position, they have to submit a letter saying who they are and what position they are running for.
They can do that. You do that in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to. They just can't vote for themselves if they're not there.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's pretty much like nomination and elections together, because people who we don't know who may want to join, they are nominating themselves, and if there is no one to contest that at the end, then they have been elected to our board. Correct?
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, can we have nomination and election on the same day? So at the end, if nobody has contested after nomination, so when you say, thank you, everybody, it is 10:15 a.m. and nominations have been closed. Since there hasn't been anyone who contested any of the positions.
No.
Okay.
You still have to go one by one, because you have to give it opportunity and you have to say it. Going once.
Oh no,
after all of
that. After we have gone through all the positions, after we've gone through going once, twice, 3 times, raise your hands. After all the positions are done and there are nothing is being contested, can at that point we say, since there are no contested?
No, you have to go one by one. So remember, if your president is only one, they got elected, everybody went ahead, and there's nobody running against her, you have to cast a vote for that position, for that person. So after you went going once, twice, nobody else wants to run against Eleni for president, going twice, 3 times, the position is closed. All those in favor, aye. Now somebody, your note taker, somebody has to cast a vote to go ahead and make your position valid. I, Esther Maluto, cast a vote for Luis Lotito for president of PS 193 for school year 2021. It's uncontested, but I still have to cast a vote for that person.
Okay. So after each one, someone just has to say at the end, any person.
Yes.
So like, Eleni could say it for me, I could say it for her, another person can say it for whoever.
Yeah.
And then it won't be contested. And then we'll go into, after all that is done and we're at the end, then we go into our SLT. So now for
okay,
us.
so I want to say something. If you are the returning president, secretary, treasurer, that you're coming back and you're running, great for you, thank you, but you still have to have an election. You still have to have it in your notes. That doesn't mean, oh, well, we're not having an election because we're all the same team. You have to have an election again.
So now we have to pick 2 separate dates.
Why?
Because we have to have nominations first and then elections.
No.
No.
No, you're not doing
It's an expedited election. Isn't it considered expedited?
It's considered an expedited election.
Yes.
Because it's not your spring elections. It's expedited because we're doing it for October 31st.
They said that.
You're doing it all in the same day.
So you
It's
do
all
it.
done at the
Because
same.
they have to, like, even though they let you know that they're, you know, like they're interested or they're nominating somebody, they still have to come to the meeting and say, I nominate myself for this position.
That's what I'm
so
saying.
there's no 2 dates. Yeah, there's just one.
I'm saying my flyer is going to say, please join us for nomination and election.
Right.
Nominations are from the floor. There's no nomination.
It's not a separate thing,
Nominations are
Alexa.
floor. It's not a separate thing.
Yeah, it's just one.
Just right. Just say the PTA elections, and if you're interested in running,
Got it.
Nominate yourself that day.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you just say nominations from the floor.
Right. Nominations
not on the
or
top, which-
right. Nominations will be accepted that day. Something like
I
that.
mean, if you get nominations before, you can say, these are the people that have already nominated. Do we have any more that would like to nominate themselves?
Well, what you say
No.
is like, we have a few people that have stepped up to go ahead and nominate themselves. Those people, can you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
But that's at the meeting,
That's
not
at
on,
the meeting.
you don't put that
Yeah.
on the floor, on the, yeah.
Yeah.
That's at the meeting, at the meeting.
So now for our meeting, because it says for our meeting, we need someone to record it and then someone to run the meeting for us.
Mhm.
So like I said in the beginning, Faye said that one of the board members can run it, but you can't say your own position. So when it's time so in other words, if I started the meeting, welcome everyone, and I followed the whole criteria, we're gonna do every position, but I wouldn't do like co-president. Then I would have to hand it off to someone else. Because right now, unless Laura loves us so much and she might wanna help us, we don't have anyone. I tried reaching
And
out to a
Esther,
few
you can
people.
take notes if you want.
I tried reaching out to a few people, but between their children being in,
So
different
what you need,
schools and different-
Tiffany, what you need is to reach out to President's Council so somebody can go and help you. I see Laura so willing to help her.
I know, she loves us, right, Laura? Please say
So
yes.
you're coming with me, I heard. It's a tag team, Esther together.
All right, Liz, I don't care.
No problem.
But we did reach out, and unfortunately, that was another thing that was stressing us out because, we reached out to people that we knew, and their children. You have parents who have kids in different schools, and who's doing cohort this, who's doing that, or who's working, and it was, they just weren't able to, dedicate their time right now. So that was one of our main.
Okay, so Tiffany, we will help you.
Thank you, and Lenny too.
Yeah, we'll help. Look, we're gonna help everybody as much as we can. Like I told you, I've been on the phone with a lot of parents trying to walk them through, and because it was nerve-wracking when Faith introduced it, especially the codes. Like, oh my God, where are these codes, right? And it's just, I think I wish that Faith would have said, listen, we have to verify parents just like we do when we're face to face. Unfortunately, like I told you, I'm finding out a lot of PTAs are not doing the verification because, oh, it's Laura, I know she's a parent. But still, you got to check her off the ATS list and make sure that there's proof that you checked her and you know that, because let's just say somebody from FACE comes and says at your election, they used to do that back in the day, just show up and make sure that your elections were run correctly. Luckily, the 3 times they showed up to my schools, it was done good, perfect. But anyways, we are here for you guys. I don't know if anybody has any more questions. I
have a question.
I have a question.
But Louis, I have a question for Louis. Louis, I know someone's asking, can we record the election Zoom meeting? I know that we have to record it and we disclose that in the beginning.
So,
then is there a way to export it so that we always have it? Because I think it traces after 30 to 60 days.
That's a great question. So, and this kind of goes into a question that that Clarissa asked as well about using personal Zoom accounts. So you can use any Zoom account you want. Like Esther said, you guys are your own entity. You can use whatever you want.
I really just lost my pen.
But the DOE accounts are licensed accounts. Free basic accounts have a limited time and a limited number of participants. So you really want to be careful if someone's using their own account that it's not just a free Zoom account, because you can get stuck. I think the limit is 45 minutes long. And you don't have things on free accounts like recording. So if you do want to record the meeting and if you do want to have unlimited time, up to 300 participants, you would want to use the account linked to your DOE PTA email address. And then once the person, so for example, this meeting right now, I'm recording it. I'm going to get an email, after the recording is saved to the cloud. and then I go to that website, and there's actually a button that says download, and it downloads a large file to my computer. And then what I do for all of our meetings, which I'm going to do for this meeting, is I upload it to YouTube unlisted, which means that it's not, you can't find it in the search. You have to have the link directly to the YouTube video in order to watch it. And then that's the link that we will circulate with everyone that's on the meeting today, that you'll be able to watch the recording. So once it's on YouTube, it's forever, so it'll be there forever. Or you can keep it on your computer, put it on a flash drive, put it on Google Drive, whatever you guys want to save it. But once you're right, after 30 days, I think Zoom deletes the cloud recording.
And that's why they recommended to screenshot the ballot, the outcome.
Yep, keep it.
Just in case it does get a grievance, you have all that recorded to trace it back.
Don't say that word. We're not going to have any grievances. We're going to be fine.
I'm just saying, to cover, like you said, cross all your T's, have everything in line. So, everybody was verified and this is the result.
Francis.
So what happens if we don't get our positions filled?
You mean no one runs for certain positions?
Yeah. Or 4 positions.
Jasmine, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't have your core positions,
I just hear the voice.
There's no, if the core positions aren't filled, there's no PTA.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the rule. That's always been the rule.
It's just right.
No, I know, but normally,
regular...
I normally in the spring when we do this and no one runs, then we have the fall to have an expedited election. But this is our expedited election, so
Jasmine,
I guess.
But since you're running.
No, Esther, I did not say that. I'm just here for information.
No, Jasmine, you're gonna run.
No,
Jasmine, you're running.
No, that's why my camera's off, lady, so you don't see my facial expression.
Okay, so you guys know.
We're gonna help you, Jasmine. Don't worry.
She was a PTA president of 184 for a few years, and then until she gave up. But she's coming back this year.
No.
Yep.
Wait, I have a question. I can't see Francis. I don't even know if she's here. Oh, you're here. Francis, now I guess everybody's asking. So can I ask you, I don't want to put you on spot. Would you kind be enough to host my PTA election or facilitate it? And of course, Esther, anybody else's.
Absolutely, Rush.
No, you asked her first. You go with Francis.
Right. No, I said Esther. Hey, I said Esther too. Wait, listen.
Wow,
okay,
Rush me, don't call me anymore for questions.
Wait, I didn't even see you, Christine. I see a different Christine. Wait. I see a different Christine up there.
Next time she starts texting me, I'm just going to forward them all to Francis.
I see a different Christine. Wait.
I offered in the beginning.
No. Listen, I see a different Christine with the glasses. So I was so confused. Which Christine is that? I didn't even see
we're gonna go ahead and remember that our purpose of us going to your meeting is just to go help you log in and make sure that we have to work in conjunction with somebody from the school to go ahead and admit the parents. We could help you put them in the room should they not have a code. We could go ahead and help you with that. In terms of just helping out the person that's running the meeting. Now you have to say it 3 times, stuff like that, but we can't, that's how we can go ahead and assist you. If you have any questions on the spot, we'll go ahead and answer those questions. But in terms of, we're just there to help you that way. Send an email and one of us will make it,
So wait, so that means that we still need a nominating committee, like for somebody to speak. You guys can't run it for us that way.
No, we're coming to help you out the best way that we possibly can. We might say, we might help you. Okay, they're going to run for president now, or whatever.
But who do we get then to speak for us? So in other words,
I thought that you guys,
Lenny and I run our meeting, greet everyone, go through everyone else's position, but not our own, and then maybe turn it over to say Laura
and Laura will say, okay, now we're going to do co-president.
Hold on, I think we could go ahead and run the meeting, right? I think we can. We can
I
help
think
you
you
with
can,
that.
yeah.
According to what the script says, if there's nobody to run the meeting and they ask help from us, we can run as their chair. Like they could present us Esther is here from President Council, and she'll be the election chair
But
for the meeting.
I think they would prefer that they get somebody from within the school and use President's Council as a last
We've
resort.
tried.
No,
Well,
wait.
then keep
Unfortunately,
trying.
Christine, we're at the end where, like,
So
I don't want to feel like I'm harassing parents too. Can you help us? Can you,
No,
Okay,
wait.
so
Why don't
during this time, parents are really busy. I mean,
I would recommend a script, like if we're gonna go in and host, just give us a little script of the school name and
Well, if Laura runs it, she don't need nothing.
yeah, she's been doing it
Knows
so
the
long.
school name.
The script is already in her head.
But
Well,
I'm saying,
we go ahead, you guys just make sure to go ahead and email us. We'll come, we'll talk President's Council, Christine, Laura, and Francis, and we'll go ahead and be there to go ahead and support the best way that we possibly can.
so if we don't, so what we'll do is me and Tiffany will keep looking for a speaker and a note taker. And if we can't find them, then Laura and Esther can be our speaker and note taker. Is that clear from my understanding?
I think we could, I don't know about note taker, but I know that we could come and host your meeting, but I don't know.
I think anybody can host your meeting if they're not the parent of the school and if they don't want to vote. And you can even ask me I'm just giving, and not that I want to do it. I think any parent who is not a parent of your school, as per the virtual guidelines, can host your meeting.
Yes, Rajmin, we know that. We just can't find anybody who wants to take that time out to be a speaker and have to read off all this stuff. We had a nominating committee for many years, and they were wonderful people, as Laura and Tiffany and Brooke remember, but they were ex-PTA members that just ended up getting off the board.
Well,
what'd you do to them, Eleni? No, I'm joking.
No, they all graduated out. They graduated out.
Eleni, I recommended that you guys pair up with each other and kind of trade off. I'll do your school, you do my school. I don't know.
So so Laura will help that, and then whoever needs help, just send an email to President's Council, or send it to me, and I'll forward it to President's Council, the three ladies, and we'll go ahead and.
I will email you right now.
Time.
I have a question for Louis, though.
Yeah.
I have a couple of parents that are still concerned about devices that they haven't got yet, that they're still waiting.
Hey, that's not PTA related. No, I'm just joking.
So the mayor announced today during his daily press conference that the DOE is procuring 100,000 more iPads.
Okay.
So basically, everyone will get the device they need. I don't know when it's going to come, and then they're not going to get 100,000 tomorrow, but over the next few weeks, they're going to be getting a large amount, and everyone will be getting an iPad. And the distribution now is through the schools. They're not being mailed home. So devices will still be labeled with a child. I don't know how they're determining. I know that they were giving them out first to students with no internet at home and stuff like that, and students in temporary housing. So the iPad will have a child's name on it, be shipped to the school, and the school will say, okay, your device is ready, and you pick it up. So
thank you.
We found some money. We printed some money somewhere.
Oh,
what happened? I have one question. The device that the school gave me doesn't work. It's very slow, takes like 20 minutes to upload anything.
Okay.
What do I do now? I need another one. It's not that it doesn't work. It's very slow and it's very, very old. Do I have to put another request in or just notify the school?
Notify the school. They're going to swap it out with another device, but they probably don't have
That's fine. Then
other devices. But if they get new devices, yes, then they can swap it out.
Okay.
Same thing if a device somehow become damaged or something.
Okay, thank you so much.
I have a question about elections.
Okay.
Is there a platform that we can use that has guaranteed closed captioning? Because one of our PTA members is deaf.
I know.
And
She asked, and we
inaccessible.
Who's
129, not us, Eleni.
Oh, okay.
We are aware. She did send an email to go ahead and make sure that we close caption this meeting. Unfortunately, on the Zoom, we couldn't find it.
I found it. Zoom doesn't have voice recognition to automatically close caption. So I'm the host of this meeting. So when I go to close captioning, I get 3 options. I get assign a participant to actually type the closed captioning. I will type the closed captioning, which, you know, be a disaster. Or you can connect Zoom to a third-party closed captioning service, and there's a button there to connect it to that service. And I, at the beginning of this meeting, I was like looking into those things, and none of them are free. You would have to pay for the closed captioning service, and then it will add closed captioning to the thing. So Zoom out of the box does not have automatic closed captioning.
Even with the school's email address, signing up through even with the school's email address.
Yeah, I'm a DOE employee, so I'm using the licensed version of Zoom, and it's not there. So in response to I think your PTA member was in the meeting earlier. YouTube will automatically give you closed captionings on meeting recordings. So when I upload this video to YouTube, of course, it's unfortunate that the person can't ask questions and interact with the meeting, but they will be able to watch the recording and read the closed captionings once it's on YouTube. I suggest for your school to use Microsoft Teams because it does have closed caption that you can turn on, and it's basically just voice recognition. It will just
but Teams does not give them the capability of moving parents to different rooms.
You're correct. It does not.
So so it's either or. So that platform will not give you the.
And there's no polls.
Yeah.
There's no polls.
I know. I mean, we really have to do better for our deaf community, deaf and mute community.
Yeah, she can't even attend our town hall meetings because our PC can't figure out how to turn the closed captioning on.
I know, we spoke about that today. We spoke about that with
We've been speaking about that and trying to figure out how to be inclusive of the mute and deaf community, which is really, you know.
Esther, does the DOE give someone to do sign language during a meeting?
Yes.
They can, but that would be the school to go ahead. And, I mean, I don't know how they'll do it.
The translation unit. Do you put a request to the translation unit?
Yeah.
Right, but that doesn't help us. She lip reads.
She lip reads?
Yeah.
She needs to read the words.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and as far as turning on the closed captionings on Teams, that's not something the school turns on. It's available to anyone that's using the Teams program, not on the web. So right. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Hi, everyone. I hope you don't mind if I could just ask a question that's in the chat, but it wasn't answered fully before about if we can record the Zoom. We know that we can record it, but the question was, can we record the Zoom for the purposes of taking minutes, which is different. So
yeah.
You should always have a note taker just in case. That's why they want to know. Well, Faye suggested in the trainings to have a note taker.
Oh, please. Carly does it for CEC. Janet does it for DLT.
I'm just saying. But
they all do that. They record the meeting and you take your time.
Yeah, definitely. You can do that. But, you know, just take notes just in case. You know, what if it doesn't get recorded?
What if someone forgot to push record?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
All those things. You got to be careful, right?
Okay, thank you.
But we all do it. We all do it.
Thanks.
Yep. Good question, though. I like that question. Can teachers vote in PTA elections?
Yes.
If it's a PTA, right?
It's a PTA. All our schools are PTAs except for one.
Yep.
But they can't run for a position, can they?
No, they can't.
They can.
A teacher could go ahead and run. Say she's a teacher at your school, 209, but her kids go to 219. She could definitely run for
as a parent.
As a parent at that school.
Sure.
We have our meeting set up for the morning at 9:45. Is that fine?
It depends on whatever is okay for your school community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is too early for me, but no, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
I will bring you a bagel and whatever you want on it.
Oh,
yes. Bagel with lox.
Bagel with lox, a cream cheese, and an everything bagel. I got it.
Yeah.
That's as bad. You're bribing me. That's as bad as me saying, vote for me. I own the pizza place across the street.
Tell Esther that you took me a bagel. She'll be there. Yes,
I
Francis.
got it. Again.
All of you guys have an opportunity to go to Utopia Bagel and have an everything bagel have it on my name.
I think
Me and Tiffany and I will definitely deliver it for you. I promise.
Louis,
Yes, Francis, I hear you.
in the accessibility in the settings, they talk about closed captioning.
Where, Francis?
Go to Zoom preferences and under accessibility.
Yeah. Yeah, the subtitles.
Is that what she's asking for?
Sure, yeah, that's what she's asking for. But the actual what generates the closed captioning is there's nothing automatic. There's nothing that actually does text voice recognition. You either have to have someone typing in the closed captioning, which is like a super skill. Like I couldn't even imagine that. And or you have to have a third party plugin kind of that you can plug in. And if you Google search, Zoom closed captioning plugin, you'll see different companies that offer the service, and it's not free. Yeah.
I have a question.
Not expensive, but it's not free. Yes.
Can we run in 2 different meetings for election? Like one in the AM and the other one in PM?
No.
Only one?
Only one. Elections have always been at one time, one location, one time.
Yeah, I think it just pick the time that is convenient for most of your community.
Well, I think we select doing a 6 p.m.
evening, yeah.
Because
that's better, yeah.
In the morning there's other parents working and
yeah, sure.
After is everybody try to help the kids.
Yeah. Every community is going to be different. Everyone's going to be different, and but I think for most schools the evenings will probably be best.
So Esther, being that in the bylaws everybody has a different meeting date, and now because of this whole pandemic, people are just looking to get in the next 10 days. Is that okay, or do they have to still follow that Monday or Tuesday or Thursday?
Your elections are 10 days.
No, I'm saying the actual meeting date that's in the bylaws, whether it's the second Tuesday or the third Monday.
Yeah,
do you have to follow that?
You still, if you're, after you get elected, you could go ahead and discuss that with your, your board.
Right, you don't have to follow it now for this special meeting.
Sounds like the election.
No, you could change your bylaws.
You can change your bylaws, but right now.
Okay, no, I was just wondering if you had to still follow that.
For right now, yes, because you haven't touched it.
No, she's talking about, does the elections have to be, if your bylaws says your meeting is every Tuesday?
Your election could be any time.
That's what she's asking.
It's a special meeting, right?
Right, it's a special meeting. So as long as you give 10-day notice, then you can have the meeting.
And remember that 10 days includes Saturday and Sundays now. That was changed, I think, 5 years ago.
It's calendar, yeah.
Yeah. So before it used to be just Monday through Friday, and now you could go ahead and count Saturday and Sunday as 1-2 days,
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it always calendar days? Because that would be business days if you're talking about.
Before it used to be
business days.
It used to be business days, I think 5 or 6 years ago, and then the bylaws, the chancellor's regulations changed. That was when Charlene Dawson was a president. Yes. So that was 6 years ago, I think, and they changed it to go ahead and make it calendar days, which is great.
For the weekends.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Esther, for having this meeting, and Laura. Thank you.
No, well, I mean, President's Council, Christine, and wanted to go ahead and have it. And, just to go ahead, because after that meeting, the phone calls that were coming in, the emails, Athena was still getting questions. We just decided to go ahead and have this to kind of make it as simple as possible. And we're still learning. We're still trying to get all the logistics. Every meeting that I attend, it's something new. So I will be at the 2 trainings, like I told you, on the 8th, 9th, and the Spanish one, which is the 14th. If you guys can attend, the meeting on the 8th, please do not forget the Zoom meeting training, which is the 8th and the 13th. Those are going to be, I think that's going to be fun, because I think it's actual people from Zoom coming to the DOE to teach us stuff. They probably heard all the, you know.
Does the PTA have to vote on what platform to use for the election?
I don't think that they made that, clarification through any of the phase stuff. I don't think there was, I think it was just go ahead and decide what platform you're going to use together, but they didn't say anything about taking a vote on it.
Okay. So Antonella, that kind of answers your question around which account to use. It's similar to like just what platform you're going to use. So kind of,
I mean, it would have
if you choose Zoom and then you choose.
They did give guidance, right? They did give guidance about the particular, that you had voting capacity and breakout rooms and.
Yeah, Faye said that as long as it covers everything that you're supposed to do, like the polling and the breakout rooms and then you can use whatever platform. But I don't think it was clear on how that was voted on.
Do a poll and put Christine, put Eleni and my name to see, like, and then people vote just to practice.
I forgot how to do it.
Yeah, really?
So Esther's running for president. Do we have any nomination?
Liz, I'll tell you, you go to the app of the Zoom and you add a poll there.
I know. So now when I click polling,
not from the Zoom meeting account, the actual website app, the app.
No, on the account, from the meeting, if you click polling, it opens up the webpage. All right, I found it.
Okay, so for you can do it.
Now, should I check the box that says anonymous or no?
Yeah,
yes,
anonymous.
Yes.
We all have to be anonymous.
Yes, anonymous.
All right.
Because if we're helping all these schools, we're going to need to learn how to do this.
I know, but I want to see what it looks like when it's not anonymous.
No, we're anonymous.
I've seen a few, and it's pretty cool, I have to say. The breakout rooms, though, I have to say, takes a couple of minutes to go in and out. So it might be a little confusing for people.
Where are you looking?
You can't see it until he publishes.
I didn't do it yet. All right, so now I am using this, and I'm launching the poll.
Right.
Of course, you guys will use full names.
So how do you vote?
You just click on the person.
Click on
oh,
the
you know
person
what, Esther? You can't do it because you're co-hosting, right? Yeah.
Oh, here, I got it.
Okay. Well,
but you know what? How come?
So I see right now. I see the results.
Oh, okay. I know. You guys are.
So here's my question, Louis. Right now, there's phone people. They would have to be put in a separate, right? Yep. But we cannot add their votes to this poll.
Yeah, well, that's where the chairperson will go ahead and see. You have 4 parents over there and then add it to.
Right, so we have to, if right now this was an election, we have to wait for the parent coordinator to tell us what came out of that room.
See if it changes.
Yeah. Hopefully, we would not have to go there.
I know. Hopefully, people don't have to call in.
Hopefully. But
all right.
These election results are terrible.
Guess what? I won! Woo!
You guys see it already?
No, we don't see it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you don't.
No, because Esther did win. Esther did win, but
I did win.
But no one voted for no one voted for Christine.
Oh.
No.
We love you.
That's fine. It's whatever.
The writing's on the wall.
I voted for myself, so.
Okay.
You're not supposed to, this is great because you're not supposed to tell people or share the poll, only the person in charge of the meeting. So then you're able to say, okay, Christine won this. Congratulations, Christine, you're the president, right? You're not supposed to show the poll. And then on the side, if you could see, it tells you how many people voted. And if you want to be so meticulous, if you want to be so meticulous, you have, let me see, I have 19 people on this meeting. There should be 19 votes, and I only have 12. So that means that 4 people that were, whatever, didn't vote.
I mean,
people are those 4 people on a phone?
No, I mean, this is here. I'm just giving examples, So that's where we have to play around and make sure that we get it, because I need to practice a poll if we're going to go help.
Esther, question. So now the Zoom call, I thought that
What?
Parent coordinator
This is not anonymous. I want to see what it looks like if I don't check anonymous.
Okay.
So just pick an option. I don't want to offend no one. Christine's option 4. No one's voting for option 4.
And we've never showed the votes like that before. People are gonna feel
messed
bad.
up.
We were alone.
All right,
Stop.
I'm gonna end it.
Wait. So
Esther. So
can you-
So that's how it shows you. Option 2.
Oh, see, so it doesn't matter then.
Oh, okay.
But no, I'm trying to see if I on the back end can I see the names of the people.
Can you?
Yeah, you can. You can. It said that you
I
could.
think you can. And that anonymous is for the host, isn't it?
Yes. But still, you want to go ahead and make sure
I
that
still don't see
you.
anyone that voted. I don't know how this works.
So you want to go ahead and make sure
Let me
that
go to
your
the
people.
Uh-oh.
You want to go ahead and make sure that it's anonymous, your people are verified, that you have your meeting date, that the flyer goes out, that, yeah.
So when we have a tie, do we relaunch the poll and say, come on, everybody, vote again?
Hopefully there won't be a tie, Francis, but yeah.
Oh, don't say never. There'll be a tie.
No.
Yeah, there'll be a tie.
Usually what I say, Louis, happens, so I know there won't be a tie.
Touche.
But otherwise, we relaunch and tell those 4 people that didn't vote, can you please vote?
Or can you get rid of everyone else's name?
You could be Francis. I know you were supposed to vote for Laura. Imagine that.
I did vote for Laura.
I just have one stupid question. So the parent coordinator.
Thank you, Francis.
When we spoke to the parent coordinator, my understanding was that she was going to create the Zoom call. Is that, or am
That's
I and
correct.
Tiffany supposed to? Is she supposed to? What? Or am I?
No, I think that they're not supposed to be involved in the PTA elections. You have to create the Zoom, and she has to verify.
So me and Tiffany have to create the Zoom, let everybody in, give everybody the code.
No. She gives the code. The PC gives the code to your families.
So what do we do? Create the Zoom.
Yes. So if you get your email address.
The school creates the codes because they're verifying that parents are actually parents in the school. That's why.
So me and Tiffany have to learn how to let people in and stuff like that, right?
Oh, that's why me and Laura are gonna help you.
Okay. Because Tiffany probably thought the same thing, that Jen was gonna run that, right, Tiff?
Yeah, the way that when I sat on the meetings for FACE and stuff, the way they made it sound, it was like your parent coordinator would be the one to set up the meeting because she's giving the codes and she has to verify the people coming in.
So
that's how I took it.
So so let me tell you, on a regular face-to-face meeting, your parent coordinator is there to assist you, but does not ever run the PTA elections.
Well, not to run it, but to set it up. That's how
the Zoom.
To run it. She would put the Zoom and give everyone the code and then verify.
So the reason why the DOE gave you email address is so you can go ahead and access the DOE licensed Zoom account, because it's a conflict of interest that's basically, I can turn around and say, nice background, Brooke, that I can easily turn around and say that because the principal ran it, Tiffany won. She didn't want me to win. So therefore, the principal set it up. The parent coordinator set it up so Tiffany could win, and I didn't have a fair whatever. Because of that, whatever it is, the parent could go ahead and complain about that.
And
so
they complain if a president set it up. Either way, that's the same thing. Oh, the PTA president.
You have the DOE account.
Okay, and it's
how is Jen?
So I filled out the DOE thing, but they're gonna give me now. I'll get an email.
When you get the DOE email, you're gonna get an email. I'm gonna get an email. You're gonna get a temporary password. You are to log in and change it to whatever password you want, and you will have access to the DOE account.
But it won't give me. It won't be my account. It'll be a PS 193 account because I have my own DOE account.
Yeah, but you can't use your DOE.
No, I'm not.
To work. Yeah.
Okay.
So then how, if I'm creating the meeting and asking people
for
to
the
join?
DOE?
I do.
I didn't know that.
I'm a sub school aide.
Oh, I didn't know that. You see?
So how is Jen gonna know on the meeting how to let people in? Is she gonna be a host?
So you can make her a host. She could help Laura and myself and Francis and Christine, whoever's showing up, to admit the parents.
Okay.
Wait, can I ask?
She's definitely going to have to help if there's parents that come in without a code and they're in the room. She has to help verify them.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just something new that me and Tiffany have to do now because we thought that she was gonna do all that, but that's totally fine.
In the guidelines, it specifically has a sentence. It says no principal or parent coordinator can run your meeting.
Or designate.
Yeah,
Not run the meeting.
Run the meeting,
It
not
wasn't running the meeting.
create it.
It was creating the meeting.
So, no. So again, that's why the DOE email address. So this is what I had thought. To eliminate and give the emails and everything, I was going to have Louis set up the meeting for all my PTAs. I was told, no, that is a conflict of interest. President's Council does not do that. So then I think it should have been easier to let them have us, President's Council, Louis, myself, set it up for all of you guys, where we would just, you sent us a date, we set it up, you have the link, boom, it's there, right? But they didn't let us do that. They said that that's why the DOE gave PTAs their own email. Now, the only thing is I'm hoping these emails get reactivated before your elections. You know?
I'll just give you our passcode and our email, and you could just create it and then just let me know the link and I'll just post it.
Or you can do it and learn how to do it so you can have your meetings going forward.
And
yes, we are.
It's 9:13.
October 17th is the 19th is the Real Presence Council meeting. Yes. Are we setting up teams or are we moving to Zoom permanently?
I think we should do
Who's
teams.
in charge?
Let's do teams. I don't know. It's President's Council. What do you say?
I don't hear anyone talking.
I like Zoom.
I like Zoom because
Do Zoom.
Oh,
I mean, we get more practice, and then maybe we could try to practice more or something, you know?
It doesn't matter for me. Either way, I'm gonna.
I can use a virtual background.
Louis, how come you never show
I want to play with that.
a cartoon?
What happened?
I said, how come you never show your face? We only see a cartoon.
Oh, I'm outside.
That's okay.
Is it too dark?
He's always outside. There he is.
How did you do the background?
It's not gonna work for me because it's too. I need the camera won't be able to tell what's happening. Yeah, the whole thing I might disappear.
Go to Zoom preferences and go to virtual background.
So we'll use Zoom.
I don't even know where the preference
for October's meeting.
It's on the well. If you have a Mac, it's on the top left hand
text with the picture
corner. And you can take any picture and make it your background.
So I set up a new page on the District 25 website for President's Council. The link is in the chat. Super easy to remember. The meeting link for the upcoming meeting will always be there. So if you go to d25.nyc/pc, you'll always get the most recent meeting link. And that's also where I will be putting the links for the recorded videos. So it's really easy to find everything. We're going to just put everything over there. And if you guys ever want to post anything on there, like, I don't know, documents that you guys are sharing, we could put them there as well. Just let me know.
I have one last question, guys. This is Rashmi. Sorry, I had to turn my camera off. Family issues. I like the idea of making it easy, getting the random code and having that honor code system that you have a code and that's when they're getting into the meeting. But at that meeting, is the parent coordinator checking off her list of 15 codes, or if those are the only codes that's coming in? Like somebody has to still do a cross check, right?
Yeah, so there's a list that your parent coordinator has when she gives out, when that Google form comes to her, she goes ahead and fills it out. So she's able to put Louis Lotito got this code, blah, 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 email address, and sends Louis an email. She has a list, an Excel list with all the codes. So she can go ahead and pass that, share it with
the host also.
So that you could share that list. So then if we have somebody, we could check the code and be like, okay, that code is here. remember that all codes are gonna have the DBN, so that's gonna be the same.
Okay. I mean, I'll just.
Are you saying?
I'm saying goodbye. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Francis, check your emails, and you too, Laura, so we can coordinate.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Esther, do you want, when we create our letter, did you want us to email it to you to see if it looks okay? We don't have to. Okay.
You don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to.
All right, good night.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for everything. It was very informative.
Good luck, and may the force be with you. I'm in a spaceship right now. So
yes, I like your spaceship.
I was going to say that. Are you in the spaceship?
May the force be with you. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, I mean, Rashmi, did we answer all your questions? I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you did. I'm just one of those parents who always have extra question than other people, so I don't want to be the pain in the, dash. So I just.
That's how we learn.
That's how we learn, Rashmi.
That's how we learn.
We have to ask the question.
You're not the only one.
So I'll just leave it because every one question has my two brains already thinking of a second question. So I'm just going to take all this information in, try to get a couple hours of sleep, and then tomorrow I'll reach out to you if you have more questions.
Yeah. Remember tomorrow's CEC meeting, and remember that.
Darn it.
CEC meeting tomorrow, and also remember the trainings, please. That reach out to your parent coordinator. She has the flyers, and I did send it. I don't know if you guys received it.
I did.
Okay.
I did too.
All right,
Did anything?
I got it.
You did it? I'll send it.
Did anything, Esther? I don't know what you sent me. I gotta go look.
Okay, bye everybody.
I usually take a nap for like 2-3 hours and then maybe wake up around 1 and I start emailing, going crazy. So sometimes you get my emails really late at night. You know why.
That's all right. Okay.
All right. Anything else?
No, but thank you for everything.
Oh no, thank you, ladies, for running. Thank you for stepping up to District 25, President's Council, and to your schools. We really appreciate it. I know that this is not easy, and it's definitely been, out of this world what we're dealing with. But hopefully.
Where you going? It's just a lot, when you have the kids home and trying to do homework and then typing letters and Googling things and trying to figure things out. It's the way of the 2020.
Yep.
Definitely a roller coaster ride. I do not want to get on again.
Nope.
No.
I want to get off. It didn't stop.
I really want to go. I want to go to bed and wake me up when this is all over, please.
Yeah, I agree. All right, ladies.
I want to scream Jumanji. Jumanji! Just let me out. Bye.
Be careful the mosquitoes don't come out.
Exactly.
Right.
I love that idea.
All right, guys. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See you tomorrow, maybe.
No, you can't leave me.